a police commander using pepper spray against some young women.
All right, that looks bad. But maybe that cop had a good reason to use a blinding, stinging chemical on 5 apparently already penned-in women and what looks like his fellow officers who were surrounding them. Maybe the pepper spray was a mistake. It was a hot day. Maybe that officer was reaching for his canister of cooling cucumber mist spray and grabbed the pepper spray by accident. I'm sure he learned his lesson. I'm sure if we just filmed him later. I'm starting to think this guy doesn't even have cucumber mist spray.
In the spotlight tonight, the Occupy Wall Street movement gains momentum thanks, unfortunately, in part to police misconduct and brutality. Tonight, Occupy Wall Street protesters gathered outside New York Police Department headquarters in protest of police tactics featured here on The Last Word and last night on The Daily Show. The protest against Wall Street greed, economic inequality, tax breaks for the rich, and now police misconduct continues to grow with the help of multiple major New York City labor unions, a 38,000-strong transit worker union, as well as service employee, teacher, communications workers, and pilots unions have all pledged support for the movement. AFL-CIO President Richard Trumka endorsed the protest today, saying we need to bring back balance to the financial economy, and calling attention to it and peacefully protesting is a very legitimate way of doing it. God only knows. You can go to the Hill and you can talk to a lot of people and see nothing ever happen. The protest started in New York City's financial district 14 days ago and has spread to San Francisco, Chicago, Denver, and Boston. More protests are planned tomorrow in Washington. MSNBC's Chris Hayes spoke with some of the Wall Street protesters today.
What brought you down here the first time?
Just because I feel like there's a groundswell here. That I think this thing will catch fire and people can realize this might punch through what's going on in this country.
What do you want to see happen here?
What I'd like to see happen is I would like to see the people in this country start taking an interest in what's going on and start looking at what's happened on Wall Street and how it directly affects them. They look at this and they say, a bunch of stinky hippies, this doesn't affect me at all. They don't realize, they might lose their mortgage, their property values have gone down, their retirement funds gotten trashed. My mother was supposed to retire. She can't retire because her retirement fund, took like a 40% hit. She can't live on Social Security.
Joining me now from Lower Manhattan, the site of the Occupy Wall Street protest, is Chris Hayes, host of the new MSNBC weekend program Up with Chris Hayes, which airs Saturdays at 7 a.m. Eastern and Sundays at 8 a.m. Eastern. Thanks for joining me tonight, Chris.
Thanks for having me on, Lawrence.
Chris, we had earlier reports indicating that the police were closing off streets down there and tightening up the pressure on the demonstrators. What is the situation there now?
Well, right now the police seem to be just hanging back and watching, and the mood is, as you can hear behind me, extremely jubilant and hopeful, I would say. Every night there is a general, what they call a General Assembly, or GA here, which is the sort of governing body of the occupiers, and it is run through a set of somewhat Baroque rules that involve total consensus, and it's really a remarkable thing to see. They use this method of human amplification where one person speaks and everyone else is around repeats the phrase. So you have this sort of hypnotic quality where the words are coming out slowly as if being translated. And there is this sort of remarkable energy around this meeting, which in its particulars is sort of hilariously mundane. It's about getting food, about making sure the sanitation committee is picking up, about getting sleeping bags. But it is a kind of model of self-governance that is totally foreign and sort of remarkable to witness.
Chris, I think, oddly enough, ironically enough, the predictor of this event was the mayor of New York, who said some weeks ago on his radio show, we have a lot of kids graduating college and can't find jobs. That's what happened in Cairo. That's what happened in Madrid. You don't want those kinds of riots here. The damage to a generation that can't find jobs will go on for many, many years. There's the mayor of New York saying there's something going on in this country that is so disruptive to life in this country, so disruptive to individual and collective economic progress, that there will be some kind of outcry. This seems to be that outcry.
I think a lot of people who've been witnessing and reporting on and looking at the sort of both the scene and the actual facts of the matter in terms of how our economy has come out of the recession, and also just the national mood. I mean, if you go around as a reporter, you hear the same things over and over, this sense of disillusion and disaffection and alienation and betrayal and anger and distrust in all of the pillar institutions that comprise the fundamental pillars of the entire society, from Washington to Wall Street and where I'm standing right now. And nothing has seemed to come along, I would say, but for the Barack Obama 2008 presidential campaign. Since then, nothing has seemed to come along to sort of quite channel that, particularly among, I think, progressives, in the way that the Wisconsin protest did about a year ago and the way this is doing right now. And I think there's a certain level at which everything about this, and if you come down, and I would urge people that are in the tri-state area to come down and check it out, every stereotype you have in your head of drum circles and meditation and hippies offering free hugs — I got a free hug right before coming on air — is true. And what's also true is there's a tremendous amount of incredibly smart, passionate people who know what they're talking about and know that things aren't right. And that fundamental truth about the fact that things are not right and they are not working is what is resonating.
Chris, this is spreading to other cities, as I mentioned in the lead-in to this segment. I just, in a coffee shop today in Los Angeles, was told by someone that he's going to a demonstration, a sympathy demonstration for this in Los Angeles that isn't even listed in our rundown of demonstrations. There are more of these things popping up than we can keep track of. Is someone organizing those from where you are, or is that happening spontaneously?
No. It is truly remarkable the degree to which it is leaderless. I mean, the degree to which it is governed through consensus, and the degree to which things are sort of getting out into the internet and sort of self-organizing. And tomorrow, if you tune in on Up, we're going to talk about this some more, and we'll see you next week.
Chris Hayes, host of Up with Chris Hayes, airing tomorrow morning at 7 and Sunday mornings at 8 right here on MSNBC. Thanks for joining us tonight, Chris.
Thanks, Lawrence. Appreciate it.